Greetings, conscious entrepreneurs and everyone listening. I'm Sajdah Wendy Muhammad, and we are talking this morning on the Sajdah Saturday Morning Coffee Talks about cancel culture. And I just want to dig into that a little bit. And while we're waiting on people to join, good morning, good morning. Assalamu alaikum, I be doing me. Good morning, Mom. We are going to just dive into it while we're doing that. Put a note in the chat. Let me know what you're sipping on. I got me some mandala masala chai tea. Y'all know that's my favorite go-to in the morning when I have time to make it. So that's what I got this morning. So I got up, got dressed, got my head wrap straight from the streets of Lagos in West Africa. So shout out to my Nigerian family and friends. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Lamont. Earrings by Simone Smith. Y'all know that's LL Cool J's wife. And what else can I tell y'all? I'm sitting here with my commemorative Elijah coin. I be doing me, says she's making coffee. Okay. I see we got coffee, some tea drinkers. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Alita. Thank you, Mom. So we're wearing pink in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Good morning, Kevin. Nubia Love Flow. Good morning, good morning. So we are going to talk, as I said today, about cancel culture. You know, I don't know if we realize that cancel culture is really, it's really a spiritual and mental grafting process. If you really understand what you're looking at, it's a spiritual and mental breeding and grafting process. And it begins with marginalization. So those of you who follow the Mind of an Entrepreneur show, you hear me talk about mental strategies for helping people navigate the world of business. I dedicated my book to mental strategies to help people navigate the world of business. But it's really to help you navigate away from the financial grafting and breeding process and the cancel culture that exists in the world of business. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit today. Before we get started, I wanted to also dedicate the show and say peace and blessings to our brother Dave Chappelle, because he's been going through it and they've been threatening to cancel him. Some people have canceled him because he said some things that people don't agree with. But it's really, I believe, because he's a free person. And comedians always offend people. I mean, if you get sensitive around a comedian, you just got to turn them off, because that's the nature of the culture of comedy in our country. It's just, they offend people, they make fun of people, they laugh. That's what this comedic world is about. But Dave also went through a freedom process and a way of fighting against the cancel culture that exists in the entertainment world, which is the entertainment business world. And some of this, I believe, could be a byproduct of this. You know, it's like they put him into Coventry or something like that. But we're going to listen to this quick 5-minute video while y'all get y'all coffee together and some more people come in the room. And then we're going to go through just some definitions of cancel, of culture, and just chat about it, just to explore it a little bit so that we know what we're dealing with and looking at, okay? But this is really, this is a financial grafting process. That's what this whole cancel culture is. It's a financial, mental, and spiritual breeding and spiritual grafting process that uses marginalization to package and separate the groups. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Jamil. It uses marginalization to package and separate the groups so that it then can cancel the group. So that's why we have mental strategies, because these mental strategies will help us overcome the financial grafting and cancel culture that exists in the business world. So we're going to check out this quick 5-minute video. Y'all get y'all coffee or tea. We're going to talk about what's going on. What is cancel culture? And I want you to keep in your mind as you're listening to this video that I said that what I see with this cancel culture is that it is a mental, a spiritual, and a financial grafting process that occurs through the tools of marginalization. So we're going to come back and talk about that. So hang tight. Give me a thumbs up if you all can hear this okay.
All right, here's the story. I started doing stand-up comedy when I was 14. I'll never forget the first time I was on stage.
Can y'all hear this okay?
The guy who introduced me was a guy named J.T. Newton. I'm 47. I can close my eyes.
All praises due to Allah. It's available on Amazon, sis.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next young man comes to the stage. Is starting his comedy career tonight. Who knows? We may be witnessing the birth of a star. From the first time that I ever held a microphone, I was sure this was it. I used to bust them people's apartments just stop it on stage. Put them on that floor, man. Get on the floor. Don't move. All right, let me get out of here nice and slow, all right? I don't want any trouble. I got good. Matter of fact, I was good from the moment I started. And I'm not saying this to be a brag, and I'm telling you the truth. These old niggas was in awe of me. How is this little boy so poised?
Now, we got this show, and I've seen ads for it everywhere, so they're really out promoting it. It looks like a funny show.
This is it. This is the first episode. Y'all ready? Some sketch comedy? Y'all ready to see some sketches? Did you know, before Chappelle show was at Comedy Central, I pitched that show to HBO. They said, literally, what do we need you for? That's what they told me. They said, kick me out of the office. What do we need you for?
You made this deal, Comedy Central, huge deal, $50 million deal. Everybody's talking about it. What are you going to do with that money? How has this changed your life?
Tom Murphy! You know what dog food tastes like? Do you? It tastes just like it smells. Delicious.
So long fried rice, so long fried chicken. I love you guys!
His career exploded after the Chappelle show on Comedy Central, but he suddenly abandoned the show at the height of his success.
You had the Dave Chappelle show at Comedy Central, and then you didn't have the Dave Chappelle show at Comedy Central. And in comedy, the reason most people have a show and then don't have a show is because they say, well, we don't want you to have a show anymore. The case here was I guess you said, I don't want your show anymore, and you took a hike.
Everybody wants to know, why'd you walk away from $50 million?
I was doing sketches that were funny, but socially irresponsible. I felt like I was deliberately being encouraged, and I was overwhelmed.
People were saying, though, that you were on drugs, you lost your mind, you went into a mental institution. What is true, what is not?
When I quit my show, they said I was crazy. What was crazy about it? I just didn't want to do it anymore.
You know, but there was all sorts of speculation. Is he crazy? Did he have a breakdown? Is he on drugs? And the more, if you really read the Dave Chappelle story, it almost seems like it was more peace of mind than it was about money.
It's like you're getting flooded with things and you don't pay attention to things like your ethics or when you get so overwhelmed. And there's some quote that someone had told me. It says, success takes you where character cannot sustain you. People think I made a lot of money from Chappelle's show. When I left that show, I never got paid. They didn't have to pay me because I signed the contract. But is that right? When a hero stumbles, the cowards rejoice. Nothing feels better to a coward than to watch a brave guy fall. It's okay to be afraid, because you can't be brave or courageous without fear. The idea of being courageous is that even though you're scared, you just do the right thing anyway. When I quit the show, all my friends would say, well, fuck them, Dave. Why don't you just do Chappelle's show at another network? Yeah. Now, why doesn't a slave run from one plantation to another plantation because the master over there might be nicer? And here we are, all these years later, and they're streaming the very show that I was pitching to them. So I'm asking them, what do you need me for? You're going to pay me. I'm inviting you to come with me and work with me. And let's fight against that terrible, terrible feeling that you made me feel together. We can fight together, or I can just take it. When I took 12 years off and you put me right back on top when I came back, I couldn't thank you enough. You have kept me free. I have not had to do what so many of my colleagues had to do because of you. And when you stopped watching it, they called me. And I got my name back. And I got my license back. And I got my show back. And they paid me millions of dollars. Thank you very much.
So welcome to those of you all who have joined. We're talking about cancel culture today. And I played that for two reasons. One, just so that you could sort of hear the journey and be motivated by the story of Dave Chappelle, and also to dedicate this show to him because he's going through it. He said some things that people are uncomfortable with, and folks are mad about them, and they threaten to cancel him. But I want to talk about cancel culture because I've been saying this for years, that this entire process of canceling people, that they now have given a name, which they took from the black culture, where we say somebody's canceled if we broke up with them, or we may just say cancel, it's out. And then they now have termed it cancel culture. Well, what culture are they talking about, and who are they trying or planning to cancel? What is the grafting process that they're using to mine out the people that they feel are okay to remain in their society, and to marginalize the people that they want to sit on the side? So I started the Mind of an Entrepreneur show back in 2009. And I said it was designed to help marginalized people navigate the world of business and to move past or move beyond the financial and business grafting process, listen to me good, that occurs in the world of business. Okay, so this book that I put in the chat that's available on Amazon is designed to give you mental strategies, because in order to navigate around this culture of cancel, this culture of marginalization, you and I are going to need mental strategies. You can't just go along to get along, because you're going to end up in whatever bucket or package or box that those that own the cancel culture have decided that you should become a part of. So in order to move beyond and move through that mindset, the mindset of a person who is looking to graft you and separate you and marginalize you and cancel you, you're going to need mental strategies. Because we always quote our brother Tom Burrell, the great advertiser, who says that advertising is brainwashing. And at a certain point, the process, the process of marginalization, the process of brainwashing takes on a life of its own. And eventually the brainwashed become the brainwashers. So now here they come, they take a slang term that is from black culture and then say, we're going to call this cancel culture. And then the media goes to work and takes something that started off as a recognition of people speaking up for themselves, people saying, hey, I don't like what you did, or I don't like what you say, to completely canceling and cutting that person off. Cutting them off from what? See, this has existed in the business world and in the financial world for years. Because as black entrepreneurs, as black women entrepreneurs, as black Muslim women entrepreneurs, we have faced this level of marginalization and cancellation our entire lives just for being ourselves. But could it be possible that in its most aggressive state, and I'm talking about this state where we see it in now, that we are canceling so many people that it might be better to be canceled than to be in? Let's talk about what cancel means. I'm going to give you a few definitions. I got 4 of them. Cancel, to cancel, the verb. To decide or announce that a planned event or thing will not take place. So who decides and who announces that a planned event will not take place? Well, this mindset that runs the cancel culture that you don't see makes that decision. It decides, we got to graft him up out of this society. So we're going to marginalize him. Once we marginalize him, assassinate him in the press, then when we kill him, nobody will say anything because they've been so conditioned and they're so prepared for it. Here's the second one. To neutralize or negate the force or effort of another. To neutralize. I want you all to think about these words. Or negate the force or effect of another. So if you are part of our culture and you have a force, you have an impact, you're an influencer, you move forward in a certain kind of way, what are people doing? What are they doing? What is this mind that is looking to graft you away? They first neutralize you, which is also a form of marginalization. Neutralize you. Get you either to stand down from your greatness. You know, your greatness don't have to be that you say things. You know, you don't have to be an egregious person. See, it makes sense for severe sex offenders or people who severely practice racism or sexism or religious discrimination. Okay. We marginalize them until they get themselves together and then they can come back among us because they may be causing havoc. Makes sense. But what's happening now is if this mindset, if you will, doesn't like you, if they don't like the way you look, if they don't like the way your body's shaped, if they don't like the way you present, then they can neutralize you or negate the force or your attraction power to the people that could eventually break down their culture. This is all done through the media. And why is it done? It's done because you have advertisers and business people who have decided that in order for us to make money, in order for us to make a lot of it as predatory capitalists, we have to control the mindset. So when we put that hamburger on television and it's extra large and we push it way up to the screen, you will get hungry. You will click on your computer and order it and have it delivered straight to your house. So the idea in predatory capitalism is that somebody has to be dominated and somebody has to be the dominator. And so in that process, there then becomes a battle for our minds and a battle for the brainwashing of our minds. And so now there's this marginalization that occurs where they say, okay, we're going to marginalize him or her or cancel him or her so that you don't listen to them because we're trying to dominate you and sell you something and make you give us all your money and, matter of fact, make you give us your mind, your body, and your soul. This is what this is about. Okay, the third definition is to publicly boycott or withdraw support from a person or organization for promoting beliefs that are regarded as socially unacceptable. So who decides what is socially unacceptable? I don't think anybody has a problem. See, here's the tricknology. When they pitch cancel culture and tie it to social abnormalities, like I mentioned, racism, sexism, abuse, when they tie it to something that is a source of pain to all of us, then we all kind of go, okay, all right, I get that. You can cancel that person because what they did was egregious. What happens if they redeem themselves? What happens? Do they get to come back? Do they move around cancel culture? Are they doing it so much that now it's not real? And are we creating a whole culture of people who are like, look, you ain't cool unless you're canceled? I want you to think about that. Now, why are all the influencers and why are certain influencers or people who can really impact our lives being canceled, being marginalized, being pushed away? The fourth definition of cancel is to mark, pierce, or tear to show that it has been used or invalidated. So you mark something, you pierce it, or you tear it to show that it's been used or invalidated. So see, that's when you've been propped up, like what Dave talked about at the beginning of this video. When you've been propped up and now they go, oh, you know what, we're done. We used you, so we'll invalidate you now. We'll cancel you. That's really what that is. Or we've been holding something that we know about you. We just been laying on that information. We know you got these imperfections. We know you got these problems. We know you got these issues, but you are such an influencer that we're going to use you and make as much money off of you as we possibly can. We're going to build up your brand, help you build your brand. We're going to promote it. We're going to push it. We're going to make you so big, and then we're going to cancel you. And when we cancel you, we're going to take all the money. Who you think's making money off of these people's estates after they come up mysteriously dead? Did you hear Dave Chappelle say that he walked away from $50 million and he didn't get the $50 million until the 12-year hiatus that he had to take, and then he kind of came back and took it back, if you will, because he took himself out of the game. That's another important lesson, because a person can only cancel you if you're playing their game. And what happens if you play the game and they've promoted your imperfections and your sins and your issues that you have to the point where it gets so big that your ego is out of control? It's been promoted. You're worth billions of dollars. And now they say, we're going to tell the world what you've been doing in the dark, so that now we will tell the people, cancel you. We'll do it through PR. We'll do it through propaganda. We'll go, cancel this person. Now we cancel them, and we either say, we're going to take all your stuff off of streaming, or we're going to move your books from the shelf, or we're going to take you off certain platforms, or we've already put you in a contract. So now we can say that you're used or invalidated, and we get to keep the money. We get to keep making money off of you. I want you to pay attention to this. See, so there's so many lessons in this on how we can step out of the game so that when we become marginalized, and it's actually okay to be marginalized. I just want you to know that. I don't want you to feel like, and I was going to play a video on success, but I thought this success story about Dave Chappelle went well with our topic today, because when you're marginalized, that means that there's something about that larger group that doesn't align with who you are. And most great people don't go along with the norm. They're not the little soldiers that are going along and just doing whatever everybody says. See, in the business world, which is interesting. People get canceled or financially grafted away from owning their own businesses. And people say, well, how does that happen? Well, most of the time it's because people don't buy their products, or it's because people don't have the money. Yeah, but most of the time it's done mentally. So you're made to feel insecure. You're made to feel that people like you don't do this. You're made to think, oh, I can't believe you're doing this. Everything you do they're shocked at. Or people come and steal your product because you don't feel like you can introduce it into the community. Or your people don't even support you. So there's all these mental strategies that we need in order to overcome the mental warfare and the spiritual warfare that comes against us when we decide to step outside the norm. See, most of us went to school. We've been taught be good, go to school, get a good job, keep your desk clean, go to the office, do what you're supposed to do. But the minute you decide, I kind of think I want to have my own business, then you start bumping up against, and then you start to realize all of the mental strategies and the mindset games that have been played to prevent you from becoming that influencer that you know in your heart that you have the ability to be. So now you say, man, I know I showed up on the planet to do something bigger than just come to this same desk every day. Do something bigger other than just to wake up, drive to work, come home and pay bills. I showed up on the planet to do something more than that. I know I can be an influencer. And so now you have to start figuring out, how do I get myself out of this box or this packaging that I've been placed in? Because it's so alluring. And now I got to worry about, what are people saying about me? And like I said, don't forget, the brainwashed become the brainwashers. So people around you, maybe people in your family, maybe relatives, are also brainwashed. And they're pushing you to be brainwashed as well. So something to think about. So those are the 4 definitions of cancel. Let's talk about culture, because I think it's interesting that they took the slang word cancel and attached it with the word culture. And then if you really think about it as a grafting process, it means that you and I and those of us that don't fit in are being grafted or separated from a culture. Listen to me good. You're being separated and selected to be pushed out of a particular culture. What is a culture? We covered this on the Mind of an Entrepreneur show. You can click the link in the bio to go and listen to past episodes. But culture, here's one definition: to maintain in conditions suitable for growth. So why is it called a culture? And why are you being kicked out of the culture if you're too influential? Because you disturb the conditions that they are creating that is suitable for the growth that they've identified that they need in order to make the money that they want to make. So you mess up their conditions. They can't maintain the conditions if you're up in there, causing drama. So you don't get to be in that culture. You get marginalized. It's not called marginalized culture. It's not called the kicked out culture. It's just canceled. And so cancel culture becomes this structure, this mindset that exists within a particular group when you no longer fit in. There's no redemption. There's no process for redemption. There's no process for transformation. There's no process or room for evolution. It's just cancel. I'm out. Here's the second definition of culture. Culture is customs, arts, social institution and achievements of a particular nation, people, or other social group. So we're talking about customs, arts, comedy, music, film, arts, social institutions, okay? Influencers, platforms, hip hop culture that now no longer belongs to us as black people. A social group now that practices and behaves in a certain way. And if you don't practice and behave in that manner, you got to get out the group. But you know, what's interesting about that is that we are so diverse and so unique as people in general that when you start canceling people, like I said, pretty soon you cancel everybody. And then it becomes cooler to be canceled than it is to be in the culture. Because we've moved beyond with this aggressive state of cancel culture. We've moved beyond saying, no, we're canceling you until you correct your behavior that is destructive, or we're canceling you until we try you in a court of law because you've done something allegedly egregious, or we're canceling you while you rehabilitate. And when you rehabilitate, and now that we know that you got yourself together and you've atoned and you've reconciled with what you've done and the people that you've harmed, then you can come back to the group. But you don't hear about that. You don't hear about that. So your access is taken away, but there's no plan given to you, no rehabilitation plan given to you so that you can understand how to re-access the culture. There's no, hey, go away, we canceling you, go say these prayers, go take these classes. It's just, you cancel, get out. And it's happening so aggressively and so much that, and then they keep the propaganda that it's about egregious acts up front. And so people, yeah, you're right, people become afraid. And so now, what do? You neutralize yourself, because in neutralizing yourself, you feel like you're less likely to be canceled. But let me tell you this. If you don't fit within the definition that the brainwashers have decided the people in the culture will look like, smell like, taste like, be shaped like or whatever, then you already canceled. You're already canceled. But you probably don't even know it. You're existing on your job, you're moving forward, you're going day by day by day, and you're saying, man, I'm just not getting ahead. Have you ever had a job and you work somewhere with people and you over here in your little apartment or your little house and you try to make it, and you see people who are not smarter than you, who halfway do their job, and you go to their house and you say, well, damn. And so you think that there's something more that you need to do, so you neutralize yourself even more. You keep neutralizing, It especially is very evident with black men. See, because black men are so attractive and so powerful and so impactful and so influential that they can put tattoos all over their whole face, write a rap, and travel around the world and have billions of people trying to be like them. They truly are that messianic energy that the world has been waiting for. So they get neutralized. They get murdered in public. Videos become viral. They get taught that their uniqueness is toxic. Meanwhile, other people come and take the culture study them. Let me see how you move. Let me see how you walk. Let me jack your swag. Let me do all of this. And then I'm going to go do this. Meanwhile, I'm going to cancel you. I'm going to put you in jail. I'm going to get rid of you. I'm going to make sure that you're in low-end jobs. And even if you neutralize yourself enough to be able to work for me, just make sure you only get so far. You can only make so much money. I'm going to design a system around you that based upon the system, I can calculate exactly how much money you can make. And no matter how good you are at the system, you're going to always be on that hamster wheel of revenue stream because I've designed the system that way. And the only way that you can make more is you got to get off of that hamster wheel and go be yourself. But that process requires mental strategies. It requires us to have a mind without borders. It requires us to pull on a source outside of ourselves that is bigger than ourselves, that allows us to move beyond our intellectual capacity. Why is the intellectual capacity important? Because no matter how smart we are, if we've been educated by a system that knows what we know and knows how much we know and already knows our mind, it already knows how much money we're going to be able to make. It already knows what kind of house we can buy. It already knows what kind of car we can buy. It already knows what we can do because it's designed a system that it's already been embedded within us. And if we get out of pocket, we just cancel you. But the beautiful thing about Black people as a culture, especially those of us in the African diaspora, we keep reinventing ourselves over and over and over again. When you study history and you just keep going back and looking at our art forms and the different things that we're doing, it is fascinating to me how we keep coming up with something new that takes off and the world goes, oh, they came up with something new, and they take it from us and they go and create industries and millions of billions of dollars. Well, what are we connected to? And what are we tapped into that makes us over time continue to reinvent ourselves and reinvent ourselves over and over again? See, we're tapped into a power beyond ourselves, outside of ourselves in essence, that is bigger than ourselves, that really is a part of who we are. So I say outside of ourselves because I'm emphasizing the fact that it's something that is bigger than we as individuals. Some of us call it God. Some of us call it Allah. Some of us call it Yahweh. Some of us call it Jehovah. Some of us call it Source. Some of us call it Universe. But we keep tapping into that and reinventing. We always coming up with a new dance. We got a new way to play the game. We got new looks, new styles, new vibes. We got new ways that we sing, new ways that we rap, different looks that we come up with. We're always reinventing ourselves. So if we have the power to reinvent ourselves, then that's a model that needs to be studied and replicated. What mental strategies did people in the 1800s use to overcome slavery and colonization? What mental strategies did Madam C.J. Walker or Annie Malone use to be women in the early 1900s driving around in Rolls Royces with millions of dollars? What mental strategies that they used to reinvent themselves from being just one generation away from slavery? What mental strategies that Phyllis Wheatley use to not only be the first published Black poet, but also to create these safe houses for Black women around the country, so that when we were traveling through the Great Migration, a lot of Black women were being abused. It was very dangerous, but she gave them a safe place and guarded the door of that place with a shotgun, so those women could come in there and even at least just have a nice bar of soap. Do you remember in the movie Harriet Tubman, where when she got to Philadelphia, she went to that house? There was a character played by, I think, Janelle Monáe, and there were women in there, and they took her in there and they bathed her and cleaned her and got her a job and got her some clothes. These are the kind of places that Phyllis Wheatley built. What kind of mental strategies and mind did she have to have in order to reinvent a situation and create a safe house for the most marginalized group of people in our community? What kind of mental strategies did Aretha Franklin use? What kind of mental strategies did Mahalia Jackson? And I'm just using women right now because I just want us to begin to think about the mental process. See, you can't sit there and stay in the box and assume that somebody gonna come let you out the box unless you let yourself out of the box first. You can say, I'm gonna get out of here. I don't care what I gotta do. No, you gotta have some mental skills. It's beyond courage. It's beyond determination. It is mental strategies. You got to think your way up out of that box. You got to pray your way up out of that box. You got to spiritualize yourself up out of that box. And that's what these women that I named did. That's why you see me, I just love looking at mindsets. I love looking at historical documentations. I love being in the business of preserving our history because I like to just study what they were thinking and what they were doing and how they did what they did in the face of the levels of adversity that these people were facing. And I believe that they're beautiful transferable skills that we can use even today to navigate around cancel culture and the financial and mental and spiritual grafting process that is taking place in our culture today. So that's my take on cancel culture, family. Couple things. We need you to support the renovation and restoration of the former home of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. This will be a place where you'll be able to click on virtual tours. You'll be able to come to in-person tours and learn about the many people who came to that house. I'm talking about hundreds of people. And I'm not even going to give you the list, but there's no other piece of property in modern day history that has entertained and housed and had this many great icons from our community grace its floors than this particular space that is the former home of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad at 4847 South Woodlawn Avenue. The question is, what was the mental strategies? What were they coming there to talk about? What were they doing? Why were so many great people? Why would Thurgood Marshall come there? Why would Senator Adam Clayton Powell come there? What access were they looking to gain by coming to visit this man who at the same time the media and the world was playing him as if he was stealing Muhammad Ali's money, as if he killed Malcolm X, as if he was doing all these messing around with teenagers. But yet you got hundreds of people. We literally, during our last meeting, or not the last meeting, the meeting before last, for our quest for inclusion on the National Historic Registry, had a gentleman say, I was in that house. I was with a group of clergymen who came there to talk about businesses. And because of that meeting, I've gone on to build millions of dollars of real estate, and I sit on this board as sort of an offshoot of that. What they come there for? See, we got to be able to think beyond the box where they tell us, look, make a choice, choose Martin or Malcolm, make a choice, go this way. You got to be saying to yourself, wait a minute, what mental strategy can I gain access to? Because if I can just tweak my thinking just a little bit, you only need a mustard seed of tweaking. I'm going to say that again. You only need a mustard seed of tweaking in order to move a mountain. So why is it that this culture is saying to you, you better neutralize yourself or else we're going to kick you out? Because in neutralizing yourself, you're cutting yourself off from those mustard seeds of greatness that can change your entire life and your entire culture. So anyway, also the book is available on Amazon. It's been out here for a while. I put this out in 2016. There's a lot of people who are still discovering it. I like it. I have some other parts to it that I just been holding on to. It's like holding on to a baby and going, I don't know if I want you to be born yet. And then I have some other books but we'll put them out soon. Maybe by next summer, but let's exhaust this. Also, join the Sajdah Circle of Winners, because we're going to do webinars based on each chapter of this book. And it will not be the same stuff that you've heard before, because as I grow and evolve and transform, if you will, so does the information that I want to share with you. So we'll organize it based upon the chapters in this book, but it'll be new and evolved knowledge and ways of looking at things, and it'll be modern and right down to the modern time. So in order to do that, you have to text Do For Self, DO the number 4, SELF to 855-574-9099. And I think next week I'm going to start the promotions and send out the link for you all to sign up for the webinars. It's only $19. Don't y'all chip and dip me, because I'm giving you life-changing information. I'm pouring out to you experiences that I've had so that you don't have to make these same mistakes. So leave me a comment, go out there, get a t-shirt, pay $19 for the webinar, and if you don't want to come, give it to somebody else. But we want to have a couple hundred people on each of the 10 sessions. So don't chip and dip me. I got that from my sister, Kane. And she said, I'm on here giving and teaching. Don't chip and dip me. Make a comment, buy something. Brother Lamont said, you got my $20. I will not chip and dip you. Thank you. Brother Jamil says, don't chip and dip. I Be Doing Me says, yes, ma'am, at Financial Architect, but don't chip and dip me. Pay the $19, click the link in the bio, buy a t-shirt. If you got $375, get a coin, because nobody, I won't say nobody, but most people are not giving you free game without forcing you to sign up for something first. They're not giving you free game. But I said, I'm going to give you free game, and then the services are free. So, all right, y'all, with that, we're going to get out of here. I pray you all have a happy Saturday. Make it a prosperous one. I want you to think prosperous thoughts. Don't think about how much money you don't have. Think about what you do have. And if you have no money in your bank account and no money in your pocket, I want you to look around and look at what you've manifested with the money that has come through you, because the idea is to be a flow or a conduit for money, not a hoarder of money. So you want to operate knowing that money will always flow through you frequently and easily. All right, peace and blessings, y'all. Have a good day and happy Saturday.